this were him and Don Jr. or Eric Trump or Ivanka, I can only imagine what the headlines would have been.
Let's jump over to CNN. There's a guy by the name of Shermichael Singleton over there who I think is, fairly decent from what I can tell. And here he is calling out the absurdity from the Democrats that we are seeing around this lie and, distortion and whatever else they might want to call it.
Democrats portrayed the president as this great arbiter of morality and truth. They said that he somehow was a better standard bearer for protecting norms and the institutions of our country, and yet that wasn't true. They lied. You can go all the way back to 2022 when they were asked this question, and the White House consecutively lied over and over and over again. They could have simply said, to MJ's point, to Chuck's point, the president isn't going to put his thumb on the scales of justice. He's going to wait. He hasn't made a decision yet. Most people would have expected that. They would have respected that. I think most people, to your point, Chuck, believe if it was my child, I probably would have done the same thing. That's not the issue, Jake. The question here, the burden on the White House, I would argue, is the continuous lies. You said that you were better than this other guy. You criticized the other guy for all of these things, and now your DOJ is committing witch hunts, and this is now politicized. Well, you appointed Merrick Garland. You can't blame Republicans for that. And I can only imagine, as I've talked to a lot of Republicans, if this were Donald Trump, and I know people are going to give him a lot of criticism for the pardons he's already given, but if this were him and Don Jr. or Eric Trump or Ivanka, I can only imagine what the headlines would have been. And I will say, if you're Democrats and you're trying to walk this straight line that we're somehow better than Republicans because we care more about the future and state of this democracy, I think that's trash now. No one believes it. No one believes it. They've lost all credibility for the facade they portrayed for several years.
It's really something. The Democrats' lies have been exposed to the point that there is now a bounce back where on CNN and on Comedy Central they are making sense. I think he's a conservative, if I'm not mistaken, or Republican. Can we check that? Do they call him a Shermichael Singleton? Do they consider him a GOP strategist or whatever? But either way, the point is what he just said there was right. He sat at the table and said something true on CNN, which only happens every now and again, right? Usually through that guy, Scott Jennings. You guys cannot pretend to be more moral. You cannot pretend to be the party of law and order. You can't pretend to be the party of truth or anything else. And more than anything else, perhaps, it exposes the fact that Joe Biden, who was brought in as old Joe, who wasn't going to be a crazy radical or anything else, he ushered in all of the wokeness, and he's now attacking his own Department of Justice. And yes, Shermichael Singleton is a GOP strategist. So good work. There's something sane going on over there. Very bizarre.